What's that sound? Somebody's watching me. No, that's just my OCD.
Hey, Mel.
Hey, Ray.
Hey, listeners.
You're listening to Obsessively Compulsive Divas.
OCDivas. This is our tea time episode where we talk about current events, what the fuck stories, local and around the world. You know, whatever comes up. Right now we're trying this new thing called recording via Skype.
And I'm hiding under a blanket because I don't have my mic to record. So I'm using my computer mic, and this is not fun at all.
It's funny to listen to, but to watch is even better. You look like the cuter version of Blair Witch Project. Because it's like they're running around with the camera all up in their faces.
Yeah.
And they're just kind of, I'm so scared, but you're just sitting there, you're like, I'm sweating.
Under a blanket with my face all up on the screen.
Exactly. Oh, I know. This is our last tea time before the end of 2018. We're recording just a couple days before New Year's. What was your favorite memory from 2018, Mel?
I don't know. Let's start with you.
I'll start with me. My favorite memory is starting a podcast.
Oh.
I mean, it's not my favorite. I'm sure I have family memories if I didn't just come up with that on the fly. My kids are adorable, but like something that I started, or we started, that I'm proud of is this podcast, just because, you know, I've been obsessing about it and it's finally happening, and now I'm watching you under a blanket.
I can't take myself serious right now. I think we need to restart. My husband's knocking on the door now.
Okay, I guess we can pause.
No, go ahead.
Does he know that you're recording?
Yeah, and I told him not to bother me.
So he's knocking on the door. Tell him he can come in if he
What? What? The what? Okay, push pause.
My God.
What's
I
happening?
never to have a freaking moment to myself. Ever.
So, I have to go. I forgot I was supposed to put clothes in the washer.
Oh, wait. Why can't you do that? You broken? Do. Okay, Mel. You now walked away and you're pissed off that your husband knocked on the door and told you to go put some laundry in. Well, I'm talking to myself. I don't really know what to talk about unless you're sitting right in front of me.
My wife doesn't listen to me.
Is that you? You want to be on the podcast?
What? What happened?
I just heard say, my wife doesn't listen to me.
Oh my God. Did he broadcast it on Google?
I don't know what happened. All I said was, hey, was that you?
Oh no, he sent it on the Google Home thing. He did a broadcast.
Oh, you did? Oh, that's funny.
Oh yeah, this is a lot.
I was like kind of talking to myself. So hubby took you away from the podcast to put laundry in the machine?
He had told me when he walked in, can you put some laundry in the washer? I just got it set. I already told him I'm like busy doing this, and then
He doesn't know how to put laundry in there?
wait, I don't let him do mine.
Oh, okay. Well, that makes sense.
He just got it started.
Well, then that's nice. That's nice of him. I know. I love it when my husband does laundry, but I don't like it afterwards.
Oh no, when they don't put away the clothes, they like to fold it and put it all in one stack with the kids, your underwears, his underwears, their underwears.
Yep.
And then to put it back into the drawers is a nightmare.
Yeah, because you started off in the living room, and then you're like, you know what, the bedroom will probably be better for recording. And then when you walked in, you found your little surprise, a pile of
clothes all over the bed. So I had to rearrange that in order to set up this recording.
Yeah, and I could empathize, because this morning, that's when I was really happy that I kind of cut off his folding, my husband's
Oh,
folding.
I thought you were gonna like pull a bobbit. You cut off his.
Oh no. Oh yeah. No, he started it this morning or last night. It was last night. And then I got up when him and my son went on their little errands, and I looked at the couch where the folding started, but I started the laundry again. And then I was like, okay, well, I'm going to get on this folding part. And then I was like, my shirt is on top of his underwear and on top of some pants. But the way I like to fold is like, you fold and you put them in their little piles so that when you get to the bedroom, you can just take the pile and put it in the drawer that it belongs to.
Yes, that's
So,
exactly how I do my laundry, but not my
Yeah.
husband. He just
Yeah.
puts it in one big ass pile
Mhm.
on my bed.
And then it
Not
never
even
gets put away.
Exactly, until I do it.
Oh yeah, because they don't want to figure out where to put it. What do you have any plans for your New Year's stuff?
I wanted to go out, but he doesn't, so I guess I lose.
I get scared about going out during those times
Oh.
because I like to drink.
Oh.
So
I
we're
wanted to take the gold line to downtown LA
Oh, okay.
in the little area that they celebrate there, but he did not want to do that. So we're staying home, and his sister and brothers are coming over.
I used to do that kind of stuff when I was younger, and then I started getting scared because it's like I always hear about someone dying, and I was like, I have less of a chance of dying if I just stay indoors with people I know and trust.
Unless you have like someone come to your house and murder you.
Yeah, but then you lock. Well, let's lock all the doors, guys.
Or one of your guests may be a murderer and they murder you.
Yeah, someone dresses up like Santa Claus and comes and tries to visit.
Yep.
Okay, fine. Now you've scared me, even with the simplest of times. I know. Since listening to true crime podcasts, do you have any like really weird situations that have happened to you where it's like before true crime podcasts that it probably wouldn't have bothered you as much?
There's actually a few. Like one thing that I could think of off the top of my head is just my surroundings. So like when I'm walking anywhere, I used to just walk like, yeah, look at me. now I'm walking. Now I'm not strutting it like that. I'm actually observing and analyzing everything around me. So if there's someone near me, I'm kind of looking at them, looking to see where they're going. So like random things like that. And then even just like when I get in my car, I always think there's someone in my back seat. So I always look, and I have a third row. So I can't see back there, but I kind of like talk to myself like, hey, or I'll say something just to see if I can get like a reaction, or if I can hear a breathing or something. But I always think there's like someone in my backseat when I get in my car.
I know, because I remember when I used to walk, I do my long walks for like around the city to get my steps in. I was always outside doing that kind of stuff, and I stopped doing it. Instead, I just walk around in circles inside of a vacant office because I'm scared of getting kidnapped while I'm on my walks around the city, because you never know. Yeah. And that one time I was walking, and I was wearing my cute dresses or whatever I wear to work because I try to look good. And then I had my umbrella up, and I looked across the street, and there was this guy walking parallel to me. He was walking his dog, and I had my headphones on, and I was listening to a true crime podcast. And when I looked over at him, he was looking at me, but I can tell he was saying things to me. But I couldn't hear him because I had my headphones on, but he kept like trying to say something to me, and he was just like looking over. And I was like, this guy's really starting to creep me out. And it's happened for like 10 minutes while I was walking. And I looked around, I was like, how am I going to, save myself? What if he comes over and he starts talking to me? And I look forward, and it felt like, I don't know, my prayers were answered, I guess, because before me, walking towards me, were two Mormons. And I was like, it was just the most amazing thing, because I'm like, I'm going to talk to them. So this guy on the opposite side still talking to me, and I go up to these Mormons, and I'm like, hey, and they're looking at me, and I just start talking to them, and I'm like, there's a guy across the street who's following me. Can you guys walk with me and make sure that he doesn't, take me? And as we were talking, the guy across the street. I still had my eyes on him. He kept looking back and he kept looking back to see if I walked away from these guys. And I didn't. So when I thought he was at a comfortable distance, I was like, okay, well, it's great talking to you. I'll see you later. So then I start walking forward, and the guy turned around again and he looked at me, and then he positioned himself across the street to start crossing the street. I stopped. I got scared because he crossed the street and he started walking towards me. And I just turned around and I ran after the Mormon guys again. And I know, I was like, stop. I thought I was okay, but this guy is like, he crossed the street and he's walking towards me now. So they walked me all the way to the next busy street, and we crossed paths. And what they did, and I was like, these guys, they're going to heaven. And they got right in front of me between that guy, and we walked past each other. The guy didn't say anything to me, but these guys were huge. So
they usually are on their big bikes.
Yeah, but they didn't have bikes. They were just walking. Oh. And I was like, this is probably the weirdest situation you've ever been in, but I'm really paranoid. and I just feel like, you know, it was just crazy how it's almost like they appeared out of nowhere, because I was like, oh God, please. And then there they were.
Oh, they were definitely
they're my guardian angels.
Because you might have been dead by now.
I probably would, or just, you know, been sexually molested or something, you know, something weird. Because it felt like I wasn't walking down it wasn't deserted or anything. I had the good sense of sticking to some places that were, you know, busy, but no. Anywho, that was my random story of my increasing paranoia because of true crime. It's changed my personality slightly, but at least I'm alive.
Yeah.
I was like, alive, but my quality of life has become a little more tense.
I don't think mine's that bad. I mean, yeah, mine's not that bad. I guess mine is just more so thinking people are following me. Or before we actually got an alarm system in our house, I used to always think someone was in the house. Yeah. So I'd always like make sure, even if I walked in alone, I would yell, like talk as if I was talking to my husband. But now that we have the alarm system,
you stop talking to yourself?
Yeah, I stopped talking to myself. And I'm rest assured that the house is secured.
Oh, good.
Yes.
I know. I had the same thing because I couldn't sleep through the night without my security system. I'd wake up at 3:00 every night almost. And it was like clockwork. I would look out the window. I'd go downstairs. I'd check all the locks. I'd open the garage door. I'd check to see if somebody managed to break in. I'd check the backyard. I'd turn on the lights. I'd turn off the lights. And then I could go back to bed. But I would wake up every night before the security system.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're bad. I'm nothing compared to you.
There's a site that looked interesting to me. And I was like, oh,
How was that?
What?
Like something just flew across your room. I was like, what the hell?
It's my husband. He was in here changing his socks.
I just saw something like fly across the room. Like, did a bat die in there? What happened?
Yeah, he was taking off his socks. I think he probably does what he normally does and just throws his clothes all over the place.
Oh.
You were like, what's that? Okay, do you want to go first?
Sure.
Okay,
so mine's I chose mine because it's kind of relevant to, we just came back from a trip, our little winter family trip to San Luis Obispo and Paso Robles in California. Mm-hmm. So on our drive back, actually, when we first got there, I got a story on my alert talking about an inmate from San Quentin that had escaped. And so I thought, San Quentin's more towards like San Francisco, which is still another, 4 hours away from where we were. So I'm like, we're good, whatever. Mm-hmm. So until I get the full story. Oh, so Shalom Mendoza he was an inmate of San Quentin State Prison in San Quentin's actually located near San Rafael, which I mentioned was kind of closer towards San Francisco. I think it's past San Francisco. And San Quentin is California's oldest prison. It opened in 1852 and houses about 4,100 inmates, including those on death row. So Shalom Mendoza, he's 21 years old, and he arrived at the California Department of Corrections and Rehabilitation in April after being sentenced to 5 years behind bar for use of deadly weapons during a carjacking, attempted carjacking, and evading or attempting to evade a peace officer while driving recklessly. So Shalom Mendoza was assigned to a minute security work crew. And so he was actually working outside the prison area when he just walked away.
What?
Yeah, he just walked away from the little working area. So on the evening of December 26th, Shalom was assigned to work outside the secured perimeter of the prison, as some inmates are, but he took advantage of the opportunity to leave. Shalom was discovered missing during an institutional count. He was reported missing just after 9:30 p.m. Little sneaky motherfucker. He was like, I'm just going to walk away. Like, how do you just walk away?
And that was during the daytime.
I'm assuming so, but they didn't notice he was missing until 9:30 p.m.
Oh my gosh.
So I would assume they would be working during the daytime, but I don't.
Because, you know, when you take a student on a field trip, you're always like counting heads. You got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'd be just like that working at a prison. Yeah. I'm coming back inside. I'm like, okay, everybody here, break out their buddy. 1, 2, 3, 4. And I'm like, uh-oh, so-and-so's gone.
Yeah.
Okay, go on.
So he was suspected of carjacking a vehicle in a store parking lot less than a mile from the prison after he fled. A man with a similar physical description to Salam motioned to the victim as if he had a weapon under his shirt. He threatened to kill her and demanded her car keys, but she was... Can you hear?
Mommies can't ever get a break. I'm talking about crime.
He just picked the lock. He just picked the freaking lock. What do you want?
Answers.
Oh, you're thirsty. Where's your dad?
I'm gonna get gas for his truck.
He went to go get gas for his truck, so he just left you? So you've been out there by yourself?
Don't out there.
Oh.
And I was saying, and said, they can go out inside.
Okay, so what do you want from me? What do you want from me, babe?
I'm thirsty.
Okay, get some water. Close the door.
Oh my goodness.
Hold on 1 second. I'm gonna murder my husband. Oh my gosh. No, he freaking picked the lock.
That's a good skill to have.
He's the next Shalom Mendoza.
Uh-oh.
with this carjacking. So Salam is suspected of carjacking a vehicle in a store parking lot less than a mile from the prison after fleeing. A man with a similar physical description to Salam motioned to the victim as if he had a weapon under his shirt. He threatened to kill her and demanded her car keys, but she wasn't injured. On December 29th, around 12:30 p.m., so that was just, so the 26th was a Wednesday, which is the day we left to Paso Robles, and the 29th is the day we were coming back. So on December 29th, around 12:30 p.m., Shalom was taken into custody at a fast food restaurant. A witness spotted him at a Taco Bell and notified authorities. We were less than a mile away from this fucker. Like,
oh my God.
Literally that 28th, I had went to the shopping center of where that Taco Bell was, because they had a Walmart there and I needed to get something. So I was literally there at that shopping center, and it's like maybe a quarter of a mile away from our hotel.
Oh my God.
Where we found him. So he was all the way in San Francisco, carjacked a lady, and then drove down to Paso Robles area.
Oh,
so,
hell no.
Yeah, I know. So he...
so the entire time that you were up there, he was on the loose.
Yeah, he was on the loose.
Stupid.
But I just kept thinking, I wasn't thinking he was going to get a car and come all the way down here. I kept thinking, oh, he's probably just hiding out somewhere in the San Francisco area. So there was no even thought that he was going to come.
Oh my God.
Near where we were. Let alone,
I wonder if anybody got fired at San Quentin for that one.
I hope so.
Shoot.
I mean, he's lucky he didn't hurt anybody while he was out.
So he just carjacked a person.
Yeah, he just carjacked someone. Probably scared the shit out of her while he was doing it.
I'd be suing. I'd be suing.
Yeah. So I guess they had found the car on the Friday before the day they caught him. So they found that car abandoned in Paso Robles, and then once they arrested him, they sent him to Salinas Valley State Prison.
I think you should leave that part in when pick the lock. That is hilarious. It totally demonstrates what we go through as mothers trying to have our own little hobby.
Not only am I under a damn blanket, I'm like sitting on the floor with pillows all around me, and then this little fucker just like walks in the room with a screwdriver in his hand because he picked the lock.
You need to leave in that part where you got interrupted by hubby to put the laundry away, and then his voice pops in and says, "My wife doesn't listen to me."
Oh.
And then that part where my husband comes in and taking off his socks, throwing stuff behind, scaring you.
Yeah, this is what happens when we record at home alone.
All we want to do is be two professional mommies for at least an hour and a half or whatever it takes, is be unprofessional and rated R. That's all we want.
That's all.
That's it.
We can't even ask for that though.
No, but well, if we were in the privacy of our car, sweating it out on,
That's actually where I should have went. I should have went to my car. Why didn't I do that? I would have been in a smaller. I would have been
to the left. You've been knocking on your car window, been like, "Mom, Daddy went. Daddy left."
Okay, so to just end the story, so they actually are sending Salam's case to the Marin County District Attorney's Office, and then they're going to decide whether they're going to charge him with escape and carjacking. Why would they even need to decide? Why isn't that just an automatic? Like,
yeah, I think so. I think that adds on to your sentence.
Yeah, you freaking escaped.
Yeah.
Like, you're not going to be. I mean, you're not going to be rewarded for being an escapee.
No.
And then for freaking scaring the shit out of this woman that you carjacked. And like stealing her gas.
I know. Yeah. You know what? Gas is expensive.
Isn't cheap. Yeah.
No. So you get an extra year for every mile that you spent on her gas tank.
And
okay,
actually,
how many years does he have?
He had 5 when he initially went in. So he needs another like 2 or 3.
He needs like 5 years.
Oh.
He needs another couple for walking away in the first place. A couple for scaring the poor woman and taking the car, spending the gas.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'd be your harsh judge. I know I would be. I'm like, you're gonna.
Because I'd get everyone life, but you can't. You can't give everyone life.
Yeah.
Not even murderers get life.
True. Yeah, I know. And then if they're on death row, it's just life. But it could be any day though. The guys. Did you know? Because I was actually reading that. What was it in San Quentin? There's a lot of people on death row, but they haven't put anyone to death since 2006.
In San Quentin?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I'm aware of that it takes forever to actually put someone to death. That's on death row. But
I mean, look at Kevin Cooper.
Who?
Kevin Cooper?
I don't know who that is.
You do too. You have to know. He's a guy that killed that family back in 1983. Well, allegedly, because he's been fighting it ever since 1983. I should probably do this as a podcast. Maybe we'll cover that later because it's a very interesting case. There's a lot of pieces to it. Anyways, that was a long STD, sidetrack diva.
Yes, sidetrack diva.
But it's so interesting. Okay, so this is kind of sad. I wanted to find something that was a little more local. This happened in the Long Beach area, and the title says family of Manhattan Beach women whose remains were found after a long search. So right now they're looking for answers because they found her body. For 2 years, investigators and the family of a Manhattan Beach woman with Alzheimer's disease who walked away from a museum and never was seen again focused their search on the theory that she was lost somewhere in the medical system and almost certain she was alive and being cared for in a mystery nursing facility. So 2 years ago, she walked away from them and she has Alzheimer's. So they figured she was alive, but being cared for somewhere else. She couldn't identify herself.
How old is she? An older lady?
She was an older lady, approximately, she was 55 at the time when she
That's
went
not
missing.
that old though.
That is,
I mean, when I think of Alzheimer's, I think more
Older.
like 60, 70 years
Yeah.
old.
Yeah. So she had severe dementia. She had trouble communicating, and this is what they told the public when she initially went missing. So apparently that theory was wrong. It was disclosed at this, and it's giving a day. This was published on the 27th, of December. And so they were saying it was disclosed Wednesday, December. So they said last Wednesday. So that must have been on the 19th. Okay. So their initial theory of her just walking away was wrong. And it was disclosed in around mid-December when the coroner's office confirmed that the remains of Nancy Marie Polikis had been found months ago in a rugged mountainside in Sherman Oaks, about 12 miles north of the Los Angeles County Museum of Art, where she initially walked away. She was 55. We already said that when she disappeared, and she was last seen alive on security video footage walking away from the museum on Wilshire Boulevard on October 15th. And this was 2016 at the time. Early onset Alzheimer's had taken such a toll. She was a retired computer engineer and was no longer able to communicate. That's so sad. So the photos and videos they had of her walking looked like she was moving at a pace of 3 miles an hour. Interesting. So she simply got out of the search area even before the search was launched, said her father, George Polikis. See, it's like Paul and then Ikas, Ikas at the end. George Polikis. Does that sound right? He and his wife, Joan, were recently planning to visit.
Is it Polikis?
Polikis. I know, like there's
because it's Lik. Is it Polikis?
Polikis. I'll say Polikis. So he and his wife Joan were recently planning to visit a nursing facility in Paris, California, that they hoped would be a hit. Now the Palos Verdes estates couple are coming to terms with an outcome they hadn't expected and grappling with more unanswered questions. Polikis' husband Kirk Moody said he was expecting to learn more details from a coroner's investigator Thursday. Since his wife became separated from him at the museum that evening, he has led an exhaustive search for her, visiting skilled nursing and residential care facilities throughout Southern California, offering a $100,000 reward for information and airing ads on television. According to the coroner's office, Polikis' charred skull was found in the park of Mulholland Drive and Beverly Glen Boulevard on March 11, 2017, then bones in September 2018. So they were recently identified and with DNA. Oh man, her remains were found a while ago. So fire officials say a roughly 4-acre brush fire at the park that day in March 2017, which led this discovery of a skull, was started by children playing with matches.
So she wandered off to an area that then caught fire? Is that?
Well,
how did she get there?
She went missing in 2016, and let me see.
But the fire didn't start to 2017. So
yes,
for a whole year, she's just.
And that's how fire officials found her, because they were putting out the brush fire. So, that's how they found her body.
Oh.
Manhattan Beach detective Mike Rosenberger said he was about to begin going through a list of some 700 unidentified women whose remains were given to the LA County Office of Decedent Affairs when he got word of the identification. So he says, it just seems such a strange place for the story to lead. How Polikis wound up in the wilderness and how she perished is unclear. The coroner's office listed her death date as the day the skull was found. Apparently, there's probably...
So in 2017 is when they
found her. She went missing in October 2016.
So a year later, she's found, and that's the date of her death?
That's how they're putting it, because I'm sure fire damage probably destroyed a way to find out an accurate time of death.
And it also got rid of any evidence that somebody put her there.
Exactly. I wonder if there's they could definitely, even though, I'm not a forensic expert. I'm just going to put that out there. But they, typically when they find remains, even if it's decades old, they can see on the body whether there's blunt force trauma or some sort of damage to the bones.
But the only thing they found was a skull. So where's the rest of her body?
Exactly. Let me
Like
read
the
on.
fire,
See.
like would the fire detach the body from the head?
It would probably be, animals, because, there's that.
I guess
It's
these are rhetorical questions.
perhaps, and I'm trying to actually answer them. My if I could choose a different career going back, I'd probably go into forensics. I watched all of the show Bones, and I was so intrigued by I know it's not real and not every case gets solved that way, but it is really it's fascinating. Okay.
Mhm.
LAPD Sergeant Michael Goldberg, who has been helping Moody with the case off duty, is familiar with the park, which happens to fall within his division. The area where she was found up in the hills is extremely remote, he said. Just her walking on either side of Mulholland to get up there, we would have gotten a dozen phone calls from people seeing her. It was a tragedy that Polikis slipped through the system in the first place, Goldberg said. He wonders if she may have been possibly victimized a second time. So he also said, my cop intuition tells me I don't think she got up there some way without the help of someone being responsible in some way. He said,
That's
something's
my
up.
thinking. That
Yeah.
was my thinking. Because
Me
it's
too.
like, how does this lady, a year later,
Yep.
just be strolling up there with the fires?
I
And,
know.
Like, how did she get there? Like, someone had to have seen her along the way for her to get from where she was to where she
walked away
ended up.
a museum off of Wilshire. She might have even walked into a really, shady part of town, and someone took advantage of her. As they wait for answers, Moody and Polikis's parents plan to meet for the first time since receiving the bad news. They remembered her as kind, highly intelligent, and modest, accomplished whether in the office, flying a small airplane with her mother, or skiing slopes. Polikis grew up an only child in the Lananda Bay neighborhood of Palos Verdes Estates. Her love of animals led her to study veterinary medicine at UC-Davis, but she switched to computer science, going on to graduate school at Stanford University and UCLA. And what a tragedy, like that early onset Alzheimer's took over. So Polikis and Moody met when they worked at TRW. So
And, I always get scared because I swear my memory, and mine's probably just a mommy brain parts. Oh
yeah. Mommy bowel
movements, mommy brain moments. But I'm like very forgetful at times. So I'm like, just like right now when my husband started the washer and asked me to put clothes in there, and I just walked right by it and came and sat down. Like I feel at times that I'm like, I think I'm like in the pre-stages for it, and it's scary because I don't know if I am, but I just self-diagnose myself and say that I am.
Yeah.
Because I feel like I'm forgetting way more than I should.
Yeah, I agree with that. And it is scary. I mean, getting up and then all of a sudden not remembering that you turned everything off. And I looked around, I was scared. So we should probably look at that. I'm gonna Dr. Ray again and Google this.
Okay.
Let's go in together and get brain scans, okay?
Okay. Deal.
Oh wait, okay. So the rest of the article is almost done. So George Polikis said he and his wife are extremely thankful to all those who have supported them since the ordeal began more than 2 years ago. They last saw their daughter at a family dinner about a week before she disappeared. Moody held back tears as he described his wife as the light of my life.
Oh.
We held out hope and were of course disappointed, he said. The good news, of course, is that her story has really inspired a lot of efforts in resulting in LA Found. The countrywide program, which offers trackable bracelets to those prone to wandering, was launched in September and has located 3 people since, according to LA County Supervisor Janice Hahn's office. So one of the people that wandered away was a woman with dementia who went missing a week ago, earlier this month, about 2.5 miles away from where Polikis wandered. Barbara McClendon, Director of Public Policy for Alzheimer's Greater Los Angeles, credited Polikis' family with doing a public service by being open about a disease that is stigmatized. Her family took a tragedy and used it to make changes that are going to help a lot of families to come, and I think that's inspiring and extraordinary, she said. So that's the end of the story. So I like when it has like a positive ending.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, I saw that, and man, I feel like one of these days I'm going to have one of those bracelets.
Oh yeah, me too.
Yeah. Yeah.
Definitely. I mean, my husband has a friend who's an older gentleman,
Mhm. Yeah.
and he has like, it's not Life Alert, but he has this thing that he wears around his neck, and it has like
Uh-huh.
a little button, and
Uh-huh.
it also has one that he wears around his wrist. And I'm like,
Oh.
dude, why do you need two? Like, you have one in
Yeah.
your chest and one in his wrist. He's like, well, it depends on which way that I fall. You know,
What?
if I can't reach my arm, then I
Oh,
could just reach for
no.
my chest.
Oh my
I'm like,
gosh.
oh wow.
Oh.
So he has like double take. He has it around his neck and on his
Yeah.
arm.
I kind of toyed with the idea of getting that for the kids so that I always knew where they were.
Oh, actually,
You know-
when my kids were little, they didn't have the like a GPS type thing.
Mhm.
But remember those silver bracelets? The
Yeah.
ones that like had a little fish or something in the front, and then you turn it around and it had their name and address and phone number.
Oh yeah. If they have like a
ID tag.
ID tags or an allergy.
So my kids
Yeah.
had those when they were little.
Yeah, I had asthma. I still kind of do, but I don't really do things that activate it, like running out in the smog. But every once in a while I'll get kind of wheezy, but it's not life-threatening, which is good. Okay, guys. Thanks for listening. And we hope we become a part of your OCD routine. And if you're not OCD, we hope you keep listening and laughing your asses off at us. And if you guys think of a story that would be great for our tea time, please email it to ocdivas.podcast@gmail.com.
And you can also follow us on Instagram at 2OCDivas, as well as on Twitter at OCDivas_. And don't forget to rate, review, and subscribe to keep these divas alive.
Hey!